right, so we're gonna get ready to change the clutch in the supercharger. We're doing an upgraded clutch. We'll do some slight modifications. We suggest doing all of this at your own risk. We're gonna go ahead and remove all these bolts. If you haven't removed the supercharger, it's pretty simple. You're gonna make sure you get the 10 millimeter. It's got a couple different size bolts. You're gonna loosen all of the top bolts. Make sure to get all of your air filter and your intercooler pipe out of the way. The reason why we're doing this is because the supercharger clutch is spinning both ways. So you don't want that. You only, when you get in there and you test your supercharger clutch, you're gonna want to, when you get in there and you test your supercharger clutch, you wanna make sure that it only spins one way. Mine is spinning both ways, which means the clutch is bad. So we'll edit this video. We're gonna go ahead and remove all these bolts, get a little bit more leverage. We'll get the supercharger out. We'll show you exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so we've loosened everything. We've got all the bolts out. Make sure not to lose your banjo bolts with your washers for your oil lines. Okay, guys? There's gonna be one on the front of the banjo bolt and one on the back. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna go down in here. It's gonna go to the front of the supercharger and over here to the side where your oil pressure goes in at. We didn't show you what it looks like, but basically, if you're looking at the front of the charger, here's the charger right here with all the bolts in there. Okay. Okay, so if you do plan on doing this, a clutch, you want to make sure to get your brand new oil pump gasket. You want to make sure this is completely cleaned off before you put on the new one. They're not fun. You just got to get down there and do it. A lot of people jack the back of the ski up or the front of the ski up so more oil doesn't come out the front. We've gone ahead and laid down some paper towels. You can lay a towel down, it helps. And Gary's already started removing the bolts. These are number 5 millimeters. I believe they're all the same length if I remember correctly. There's some hidden ones down in there, so a mirror helps out a lot. We'll probably have a mirror here in a minute, but let me get back to helping Gary out and we'll show you what's next. Okay, the oil pump's out now. When you're done, you should have 12 bolts. 12 bolts. I'll show you what they look like. You can see where the holes go. It's easy if you get a mirror. That's how we do it. But a mirror, there's 12 of them. So make sure, there's one down in a little cubby hole that's a bitch. He's probably holding it right now with his finger. I'll show you where that one goes. But there it is right there. Show him where it goes, Gary, without hold this in so it doesn't fall out.
Oh, it's going to dump all over.
Okay, all right. We'll show it later on. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get ready to start removing some of the gears. So first thing you wanna do is you move this top gear. Okay, that's gonna be your clutch gear, supercharger gear. You're gonna pull out this pin, do not drop it. You're gonna need it for later, obviously. Without it, you won't be able to go anywhere.
And also there's a bushing.
And also there's a bushing that goes in there. And if you notice, the bushing, oh, we had a little bug. There is a bushing, so it's gonna go inside there as well. So if you notice, when he pushes it,
where's that? I need a magnet.
And there's a bushing that goes on the inside. So the bushing, the magnet's right over there on that table. All right, so we got a magnet. So you push the bushing in to the engine and then grab it with a magnet and pull it out. Okay, remembering the way that it comes out. If you notice, it has a little lip on it. So it's gonna look like that. All right, we're gonna get out the custom, this is the custom flywheel or the clutch puller that we use for getting the clutch off. It's a custom tool. It's called an impact gun with a 17 millimeter on there, and that's how you do it. It's not reverse thread, so you're gonna use, oh, my bad, it is, that's what I thought, okay. It actually is reverse thread. So remember, when you're tightening it, you're loosening it. When you're loosening it, you're tightening it. So it is reverse thread. Okay, with the Collins clutch, we do have to open up the hole on the bolt. So you want to take particular precaution. Don't mess up your threads. It's got to be about a 5 millimeter hole. So I'm gonna let you do the standard, but I think he has an actual 5 millimeter drill bit, but standard would be a 3/16 would be the closest. It would be 4.76. Okay, so for the Collins clutch, it does require us to open this hole up on the bolt. He wants you to go about 5 millimeters, which is close to a 1364. It's 5.1 millimeters. So that's what we've got. We're just basically trying to get a little bit more oil through this. So we're gonna go ahead and drill it out and get a little bit more oil. So you're going to want to drill both holes, the hole down the center of the bolt and the hole on the side. Make sure to take your time, use a nice sharp drill bit, and like I said, don't mess it up. Okay, so we've got the hole opened up, both sides. You drill all the way down, all the way through. Basically trying to open it up to about 5 millimeter. We're at like 5.1 right there at it. You're just trying to get more oil flowing through here. Now we're going to go ahead and get ready to modify the oil pump. I want you guys to do this. If you're going to do this, this is at your own risk. So we're going to show you what we do, and you can decide to do that if you want to or not. All right. All right, so we made a custom shim for ours. Okay, this is us making a shim. Basically, it's a shim that goes between the spring and the oil pump plunger. This will add oil pressure up to about 20 psi from 7 to 90. By the time it warms up, it'll be at 80, somewhere around there. We only use the 2 millimeter shim. However, if you do this modification, you are most likely going to weld up your cam caps because they are been known to blow out. So make sure you do these modifications together, and if you don't know what you're doing, then do not even try to mess with this mod. Basically, we ran around it. The idea is it needs to fit tightly against the plunger, okay, and it needs to be the same thickness of the outside of the edge of this. So we made our own. It's 2 millimeters. You want to get it close to 2 millimeters. You could probably find a copper to go to 2 millimeters. The inside, when we drilled it out, we used a drill bit. What was the inside hole?
Oh man, I can't remember.
I can't remember. But when you get this out, if you want to put a shim, you need to measure the thickness of that post along with the thickness of the outside of that little lip right there. And it's going to go between the spring and the plunger. And that's a 2 millimeter shim upgrade. This is going to allow for more oil pressure. So the idea is once you get these things on there, you do not want to just go out there and rip your ski. You want your oil pressure to build up a little bit, and this will help with that, because we also drilled a hole in our bolt to allow more oil to go to the actual clutch. You're going to lose a little bit of oil pressure, so we need to gain it by putting this in. Okay, so obviously we're putting the clutch back on. We just finished cleaning our oil gasket. You want to make sure that thing is really clean. We've cleaned it up pretty good. We got in with a razor. We use a razor blade, and then we use a little grinder like that with a green pad on it just to kind of really lightly hit it. You don't want to go too nasty with it. You just want to get it nice and clean. You're going to put your gasket on your oil pump, and then you're going to get ready to put this thing on. Make sure you don't lose your little dowel pins. They definitely make it easier for lining up the oil pump, but we're not done yet. We still got to add in our little dowel rod and our top gear for our charger, and that's going to be pretty simple. And that's where we're at right now. So you want to use an impact gun. It's a 17 millimeter, and remember, it's a reverse thread. So we just hit it with the impact gun real high, and it'll be good to go. Okay, so now we're putting the collar in. If you notice, the collar is gonna go with a magnet. Is how we usually put it down in there without dropping it. And you want it to go from the inside, pushing out to the outside. So you notice he pushed it in. Now we've got the collar in place. It's gonna look like that. Okay. And then he's going to go ahead and get the gear, the drive gear. So now he's got the drive gear for the supercharger. You put that down in, line it up, and you push your pin through. All the way through. Make sure it free spins. Make sure it lines up with the clutch down below. And you'll be good to go. So we've got the supercharger all bolted back up. I'm not going to go over how to do that. I will tell you that when you put the oil on and you put the oil in, you want to bleed your supercharger. You're going to use that bolt right there, remove it, let it run for a second, and let that oil, you're going to get any airline out. You're not going to rev this up. You're just going to let it run until the airline starts bleeding. Shut your engine off, plug that back up. Also, I will tell you that I had my cams welded because the caps were coming out. These caps right here will push out on you if you increase your oil pressure like we talked about. I had mine welded, so we definitely suggest doing that if you plan on doing any type of increased oil pressure. So we're gonna leave it at that. We had to retime it back up. We've got all that done. That's top dead center, by the way. That dot and that dot are how you find top dead center. So, but I'm not gonna show you guys how to do that. There's another video for that. But anyway, that's all you have to do. We're gonna put everything back together, and that's it. Ride safe, ride loud. We'll show you what it sounds like. Really, not really hearing much sound. All we did was replace the clutch with the bigger clutch, and we also changed the oil, bled our oil line, and now we're putting it all back together. So don't forget, if you do this, I definitely suggest getting your cams welded up or getting your caps welded up. They will blow out.